Welcome to Bread Busting, where we attempt to examine the problematic ideas that come out of BreadTube and the ideology of breadism more generally. Basically, it's like myth busting but for breadism. We also talk about BreadTube adjacent phenomenon, that is, things that fans of BreadTube also happen to like or support or have a strong opinion on. Today, I want to discuss the recent controversy surrounding an interview on the website Spiked, featuring Chapo Trap House host Amber Frost and Red Scare host Anna Kachian, two anti-woke leftists according to the article published on Spiked. Frost, as you might know, is famous for coining the term dirtbag left, and Chapo is basically the home of the dirtbag leftism. I have always found dirtbag leftism interesting and sort of respectable. I mean, they probably won't return my respect for two reasons. Firstly, as someone with a polite upbringing, I'm not that comfortable with using dirtbag language. Secondly, while we both want to defeat the establishment, once the establishment is defeated, I prefer using John Locke rather than Karl Marx to rebuild society. In other words, while we both want to liberate society from the establishment, I'm fundamentally a Lockeist, while the dirtbag left are fundamentally Marxists. Still, despite our differences, I can tell that the dirtbag left is the real deal when it comes to being anti-establishment. Hence, they know the value of being anti-woke. More on that later. But first, what did Frost and Kachian do wrong to trigger the anger of the woke left? Nothing, in fact, besides being anti-woke. Some woke people reading the article may get triggered about 2 minutes in, when Kachian made a joke that the interviewer could tell people that she is trans just for fun. For the woke, this somehow invalidates the oppression trans people somehow face. Let me tell you something. Trans people are really not that oppressed by society. Wow, brave of me to say that. Except that I am trans, so I am allowed to say it. I mean, it is a fact that we are not suffering like black or gay people in the 1960s. Besides, if the woke establishment is pushing the idea of widespread trans oppression, then maybe they have something to gain from it. My guess is that they want trans people to develop a victim mentality so that we can be their useful slaves. Therefore, I should probably thank Kachian for not perpetuating that myth. I mean, I'm not actually familiar with Anna Kachian or her podcast, but from what I see, she seems like one that is unafraid to speak her mind. If she became a BreadTuber, she will probably be my favorite BreadTuber because she's going to have unique things to say. If she were really trans, that would be so much better still, because there ain't too many outspoken anti-woke trans people around. I mean, I can count all the ones I know on one hand, including myself. So why is being anti-woke so cool? Because it's anti-establishment. I don't know why the woke left can't see it, but wokeness is literally a 1% establishment elite agenda promoted by people from academics in the humanities departments to corporate CEOs to Hollywood celebrities. To be anti-woke is to choose to side with the ideals of the silent majority, the good sense of everyday individuals, against the dogma of elites. It is one thing to be pro-human rights, and I'm certainly pro-human rights, but being woke is actually just following dogma enforced by the elites. For me, and for many other people, the fact that the majority of people out there are not woke is good enough reason to be anti-woke. Being woke is to play into the elite's agenda, and is by definition pro-establishment if you think about it. I guess you can't be truly anti-establishment without also being anti-woke. The interview also included other interesting anti-woke criticisms of the modern so-called left. There was a good point about how race shouldn't matter, something the modern left seems to have forgotten. I've often said that only a colorblind society is true liberation, and only a colorblind society can have true solidarity, and it seems that at least some leftists still agree with this traditional progressive wisdom. Another point I liked was their support for free speech. As a free speech absolutist, I have become disappointed at the erosion of free speech on the left in recent years. People like Frost and Katchian give me real hope that the spirit of the 1960s free speech movement is still not entirely dead on the left. Yet. That's all for today. I'll be back next time to discuss another big idea. Subscribe if you want to follow our story. The transcripts are available on my website and my Medium profile. And remember to resist the hive mind and stay individualistic. The world depends on it.